Okay, so yesterday I did not do anything about this because I didn't want to. And I didn't want to. But today I put on my big girl stonewashed hip hop pants and decided, fine, I'll tell this part. No one wants to know or be reminded of their ugly past. No one wants to remember the gross and terrifying ugly pieces of their past. And it is not my job to shove it in people's faces. But it is my job to remember what has happened and to speak about the beautiful pieces of my past. Even with the ugly, because that's who made me, that's what made me, and it's what strengthened me, because the whole time God was there. So I left off where I was ending my senior year, and I was surrounded by friends. And in the end of my senior year, I had started dating one of my best friends that I considered one of my guy best friends. We hung out in a big crowd, and it was a bunch of girls and a bunch of guys, and I considered him one of my closest friends, and it wasn't a great relationship. It actually was abusive, physically, mentally, and emotionally, but more physically and mentally. I didn't talk to people about it. I shut down, and I probably did change. And I was told that my friends liked me better with him. I wasn't allowed to wear turtlenecks. I wasn't allowed to wear makeup. I wasn't allowed to hang out with friends. I wasn't allowed to speak to even my guy friends who I had been close friends with prior. So it was there was a total shift. And I lost a lot of faith, and I lost hope, and I just did. I was 17 and 18 and ending 18 into 19 and entering into my freshman year of college. And I kept it really private and really secret, and I'm pretty sure that my mom would say that I changed and that she didn't know what to do or what was going on, and that's okay. I probably was not her biggest, she was not my biggest fan at the time, but I wasn't her biggest fan at the time. And my dad was working out of town, so my brothers, on the other hand, they rallied around me and they loved me. And my friends, they did what they could. But I ended up choosing to go to MTSU. I had wanted to go to Union University, and because of the finances, my mom had said no, and it was probably my fault too, because I hadn't signed up for scholarships, and it's spoken about a lot more now. So it just was. So I went to MTSU. I had wanted to go to Mississippi State because it was out of state. I don't know why I chose Mississippi State, but I just did, and I got stuck on it, and I kept trying to go, and that is not where God wanted me to go. I took my ACT 4 times, tried to get my out-of-state tuition waived, and although I got close, I didn't hit that mark. So I ended up going to MTSU, and that boyfriend followed me, and I wanted to join a sorority, and I did. I joined Chi Omega, and I ran into a lot of friends from my high school years, and I tried to be normal, and I tried to do fun things, and I had gained a lot of weight by that point, because misery loves company, and misery loves food, or it did with me at least. And so I just, from the outgoing person that I was, and I had gone on church trips and continued with that through the summer, and I had stayed with adult families and friends, but when the devil wants you, man, he'll try everything he can to get you. And my doubt and self-confidence was down. So I stayed in the relationship. I don't know why, but I did. And I pulled away from a lot of my friends, and they were having a great life too. I mean, it's just a huge change. And so I went to my freshman year. I went to Chi Omega. I went into all those things, and I went into college going into pre-med, thinking, well, maybe I'll just be a nurse, because initially I had wanted to be a physical therapist, and I had had adults tell me it's going to be an oversaturated business. You won't even be able to get a job. Little did they know. And so I went in and I was like, okay, fine, I'll just do nursing. And I signed up for chemistry classes. Yeah, no, chemistry classes were not my best friend. And so I stayed, and I was in college, and I didn't do well. But I was enrolled in pre-med, focused on nursing, and I did not do well my freshman semester, my first semester. And I started to pull away from everyone. My family lived in Omaha, Nebraska, and I lived in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. None of my friends from high school that I had hung out with really were there. And although I was in Chi Omega, I was kind of on my own and scared. But I had the boyfriend, and he knew what was best. So my second semester at Murfreesboro, I signed up for chemistry too, and I had an English class. I had an aerobics class, and I had a history class, and I had 2 other classes, I think. And so this is just where God comes around again. When we start No, that's not right. When we start to believe that maybe it was all in our heads, God continues to remind us that it's not. So I can't remember if it was me who walked in or him who walked in, but I'm going to go with I walked into class, and I remember what I was wearing. I was wearing a red sweater, turtleneck, and black pants to history class. It was the first day of class. And at the very end of the classroom was sitting Josh Holmes. And I had not seen him since he graduated. So I couldn't believe it. He was there. And when we left class, I remember talking to him. I have no clue what I said, probably something idiotic. Hopefully he's forgotten what it was. But I was miserable, and there was a light. I didn't go to class that much that semester, trying to get out of a relationship that was toxic and controlling and abusive, and yet having this light. My freshman year of college was not what I had hoped it would be, and I did not return back to MTSU the second semester. I had worked at the ESP program, after school care in Murfreesboro. I had tried to ask and tell my parents in a roundabout way that it wasn't a good relationship, and my mother hated the relationship I was in. But when you're in an abusive relationship, it wraps around your mind, and then it becomes scary, and you don't know where to go or what to do. It's pretty terrifying. So I had an option. I could stay at MTSU, and he would stay there, and I was terrified of that. Or I could go back to Memphis, as my mother had screamed and threatened me, like any good mother would. And I could go to University of Memphis, where my parents had moved back to. Every other piece of hope had gone away, but I knew my family loved me, so I went back to University of Memphis. And although I didn't do well my freshman year of college, I was going to end the relationship and I was going to do better. And that's pretty much where I want to end. Have a great day.